Someone needs to come up with an app where like it's like for like a child-proof app. Instead, it's like a rock
Yeah.
star-proof app. So you can't use certain
Yeah.
social media channels, unless it's like on lock, by the
Yeah.
or your PR manager.
Yeah.
I think someone
Totally.
come up with that. Yeah.
Welcome to Culture Alchemy, where we do a deep dive into film, TV, music, and the stories and trends lighting up the group chat. We'll discuss what it means, why it matters, and how it shapes us. I'm Antoinette.
And I'm Andrew. Each week we've got pop culture's hottest takes served fresh. We're turning pop culture into pure gold. This is Culture Alchemy.
Hey, Andrew. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hey, Antoinette. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. I'm trying to stay cool in this summer heat wave.
Yes,
New and exciting with you.
I'm loving the heat for sure, and we're in full swing with summer blockbuster season. And I just saw Superman, James Gunn's Superman. So I'm excited to give my hot take on it.
Okay, so I'm really excited to hear your take on this too, because I've been hearing a lot about this movie. I haven't seen it yet, but a lot of what I'm hearing about this movie is actually not so much about the movie itself, but maybe what the movie represents. So I'm kind of curious, you know, how did you find this movie, and what are you hearing about the chatter around maybe a larger message that some people think its director James Gunn is trying to send?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's a hit at the box office. It just soared past 200 million. So it's definitely one of the summer's biggest hits. And I'm a big comic book fan. I'm more of a Marvel fan, but I did grow up, watching Superman, the Christopher Reeve. That was my Superman growing up, and also and Henry Cavill was a great Superman as well. And so now they have a new Superman with James Gunn's vision, and it's definitely a James Gunn movie for sure. It has all his style all over it. Great action sequences. You should definitely see it on the big screen. I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, but it is well done, and I like the direction they're going for sure. It's it's more faithful to the comic books, I would say. I mean, the last few Supermans with Henry Cavill, they were more darker. They were more darker Superman, and actually, one of the endings of a previous Superman movie, he kills the villain, and like that's like Superman would never do that. All right, so that was kind of like I didn't like that, and it was too much of a dark Superman for me. But this is more faithful to the comic books, and it was definitely a fun ride. I thought it was a bit too, I would say, kind of cartoony at some points at the same time. And another thing which took getting used to is they just jump into it. Like there's no origin story, which is kind of cool actually. The more I think about it, because we all know the origin story of Superman, right? We don't need to spend time seeing that again. So James Gunn just jumped right into it, and Lois Lane and Superman and Clark Kent. They are already in a relationship at that point at the start of the movie. So, and I really liked the romance as well. I thought they had good chemistry, and yeah, I enjoyed it overall. I just thought it was a bit too cartoony sometimes. But as far as like the overall message, what people are talking about, and kind of the symbolism of Superman, some people have problems with it. It's so Superman is from another planet, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
who lands on Earth, and so kind of the overall symbolism of the movie and the message is that he's an immigrant to Earth, and so he sides with people who are trying to uh, pursue the American dream and make the most of being a good person in the world and doing better and making good changes, being a good human being. And so I like that aspect of it, that type of symbolism, and also the villain Lex Luthor. He's who plays played by Nicholas Hoult is really good. I thought he did a great job,
Mm.
and he's kind of like almost like a. I feel like his character, his take on it is almost like a Donald Trump or like Elon Musk type of. You can see some similarities in his performance as well
Hmm.
as Luther. I would say, yeah,
Oh, that's so fascinating to hear you say that because I don't know if I'm mistaken about this, but I thought that there was a period, like not long ago, maybe many moons ago, I don't know, but I thought that the creators actually said they modeled Lex Luthor after Donald Trump, or that Donald Trump may have been loosely
yeah.
um, based on, like, yeah.
I could definitely
So I'm
see
not
that.
sure.
There's a bit of Elon Musk, I feel like, too, or like maybe like
Mm.
a Jeff Bezos type of vibe to his performance as well. And I just thought it was great, and I think that that added element is kind of gave it another layer as well, which I appreciated. Yeah,
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people are peeling back the layers on this.
yeah,
And you said earlier that Superman himself is an immigrant. That is
yeah,
his story. And so, yeah, maybe that is one of the reasons why I'm hearing about it. I'm hearing about a lot of political discourse around it and the wokeness of this new Superman. And it's not really new. Of what I'm hearing from you is that this is, we all know his origin story, and
yeah,
that perhaps it's just more polarizing today. It just speaks to how hot a topic immigration is. And it's kind of interesting as well, you know, talking about Nicholas Hoult, like great actor. I think that's great casting. I can't wait to see him in this role. You know, he as Lex Luthor, you know, is supposed to be loosely based on Donald Trump. I've heard before that Donald Trump has taken great offense to this character, so it's
yeah.
kind of funny to see. Yeah, for a good reason, I guess. You know,
And you saw that
um,
meme of the Donald Trump. Well, that
yes,
image Donald Trump posted. I shouldn't say, meme,
yes,
but of him as Superman, and I,
yeah.
that was
Yeah, I was gonna just bring that up myself.
that was
Is that
wild. That was
this
wild to
is,
me. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, just so wild to me. Like the official White House account, for those who haven't seen it, they posted a photo of Donald Trump essentially, basically cosplaying Superman. So it's kind of funny to see, you know, Superman, his origin story, what he stands for as well, and how you mentioned before that, yeah, he really does encapsulate the American dream, and you know, really does stand for a lot of principles that some people would say are the antithesis of the Trump administration. But
yeah,
yeah, I guess this is a good example of why Trump has been very successful. He's at the core, he's a very good marketer. He knows how to jump onto trends, he understands how to use social media. And so, yeah, he has taken on this new talking point around Superman, and turned it into a great opportunity for himself. So this will be really interesting to see. Yeah, people continue talking about this movie in this way, but hopefully for those of us who get out to see it, we'll get a chance to weigh in on this new direction, because I am hearing a lot of people say that the tone is not what they expected, and that James Gunn has kind of got his stamp all over it in terms of the
yeah,
humor,
he
and
does.
whether that's good or bad, well, I
It's a
guess
great
we'll.
movie too, and there's other members of the cast who really stand out too. Like the guy who plays Mister Terrific is amazing as well. He's a character from the comic
Okay.
books, and he definitely steals every scene too. Yeah.
Oh man. So, like you said, summertime, blockbuster time, and I'm sure many of our listeners are going to get out to the movies, hopefully, to see this. So, you let us know, like, what do you think about the Superman movie? And so, we're going
And
to pivot now.
also, I wanted to ask you: do you have a favorite Superman?
Mm,
Do you have a
oh
favorite
man,
Superman?
Chris Reeves. Yeah, Chris Reeves, because that's the one that I grew
Yeah,
up with, and um, I also think his real life tragedy, with his, you know, paralysis due to his
yeah,
equestrian accident, and the way that he really defied the odds and defied what even his doctors were telling him was possible. He really is a real Superman.
He is
Like he was a real
mirrored the
Superman.
character and what the character stands for as well. Yeah, I agree.
Totally,
Yeah,
totally. Resilience, adversity, triumphing over insurmountable odds. I mean, like he was inspirational that way. So yeah, Chris Reeves for me. But I do really like the look anyway of this latest Superman. Like
yeah.
David Cornsweet, this guy's going to be huge. He's going to be a
He's great
huge
as
star.
Superman, and also the difference between when he's playing Clark Kent, he looks very different when he's
Mm.
playing from Clark Kent to when he's Superman. Even like his mannerisms too, like and how his hair's in his
Hmm.
face, and so it is. I like how he played him and how he played Clark Kent, and yeah, he does a great job. Yeah,
No doubt. I've only seen press with him and Nicole. They've got great chemistry together.
yeah,
I love this other actor, and I was not super familiar with his work, but I mean, this is a Juilliard trained actor, so now I see him like, oh, okay.
yeah.
And he really has spent time on his craft, and what a huge role for him. I think he's just gonna blow up. So, yeah, let's see what happens moving forward now with DC, this new direction with Superman, and we're gonna pivot from Superman and Trump cosplaying Superman to the Guardians of the Late Night universe, who are now facing their own set of worries and troubles. And this Tuesday, in fact,
Hmm.
Stephen Colbert announced that CBS is canceling the Late Show after a 33-year run. So he'll do his final show next May. He shared the news with his audience and at the Ed Sullivan Theater in New York City, saying that he himself only learned the night before that this would be his last season. And of course, the crowd erupted into boos. It's a little bit of a shocking thing because he's been the top of the late night rankings for a while now, but CBS has said that this is a purely financial decision against a really challenging backdrop in late night television. And it brings me to my question for you, Andrew. What are your thoughts on this story? This is the end of another late night Titan. So, what does this mean for the broader late night environment? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was pretty shocked by it. I mean, I haven't watched Stephen Colbert, on TV in a while. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
Uh,
likewise.
definitely our behavior has changed, as far as late night TV. But I grew up watching all the late night talk shows, and yeah, like Conan O'Brien's, the David
Mm-hmm.
Letterman too. That's what paved the way for
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert. But Stephen Colbert was a great show, and it just. I wonder, is it all just behaviors changing, and the people are more online now and not watching TV like they used to? Do you think that's the reason for this, or is there something else? Or, I mean, I was very surprised by it for sure, because I just thought it was doing well, and then, like, I don't know what's going to replace that, or just like, I understand, like,
Mm.
our TV viewing habits have changed, and people are more about watching clips on YouTube, which I do as well, and
Yeah. Yeah.
younger audience, doesn't watch late night TV like our generation did, but yeah,
Yep.
I was very surprised by it, but it's definitely an end of an era for sure. Yeah.
I totally agree. I was really surprised by it because I know that Colbert is actually he has the highest ratings right now
Yeah.
in that slot. So you think about him, you think about Fallon, you think about Kimmel, and yeah, he's the top of the food chain right now. However, and maybe you were alluding to this earlier, I don't know, but do I think there are other reasons behind it? Possibly. People are speculating that there could be some political
Yeah.
impetus for this move as well, because Colbert has been a really fierce opponent of the Trump administration.
Hmm.
He's made no qualms about the fact that he's not a Trump fan, takes shots whenever he can. And even even this week, he made a mention about the fact that Paramount, their parent company,
Yeah.
is going through a merger right now with Skydance, and that company, particularly for that merger to go through, does need to get the blessing of the federal government, of which, of course, see where I'm going with this. Trump has some say
Yeah.
in what goes on there,
You made
and
that
people
bribery
are
joke, right?
speculating.
Yeah. You
Yes.
made the bribery.
Yes. So yes, Steve Colbert came out and just said that, right? That this is basically a bribe,
Hmm.
and it was, you know, very poor timing, let's just say. If this went down without any sort of political pressure, then the optics of it look terrible.
Hmm.
But I do want to get back to the point that you were making about late night television in general, because I too, I loved Letterman, but and Conan too. Like, I actually did watch Conan a bit, but I never really watched these guys. I watch them primarily through social media, like you were
Yeah.
saying. Like, I look at the clips in the aftermath of what goes viral. And so if you think about, these shows, like Colbert, Fallon, Kimmel,
Yeah.
they're expensive to make, big studios, big crews, big bills.
Hmm.
And then what I heard was that the amount of ad revenue that they've brought in has gone down so drastically. Like in 2018, late night ads in total were around 439 million. They've gone down about 50% now in 2024, 25. So
Wow.
it's a cash cow in some respects, maybe for some studios, but overall, when you look at the balance of things, they're also really expensive to make. And I think the other thing about the virality of some of these shows and the fact that we're watching them in in clip form, they don't really have a long shelf life. So I'm thinking about the things that I watch when I'm watching Colbert. It's usually like I'll see a clip on YouTube or I'll see something on social,
Yeah.
but then 5 minutes later I've moved on. So I think just the way that the shows themselves carry out with very topical things, they it just yeah, there's not a long shelf life on them. So there might be less of a return on studios investment than we think. And yeah, I just think people get their information and their news through so many other ways that they're not really designed or built for streaming platforms. And that's also causing a problem as well. And why maybe in the end, there could be a political impetus here, but I also think it could also just be down to what makes sense. And by that, I mean
Yeah.
dollars and cents, right?
I think it could. I think it's a bit of both though, because like you were saying, like people were still watching the show. It's not like it wasn't getting
Mm-hmm.
ratings, and I think yeah, there's a bit of a political um, cause for this being canceled, and I wonder about the Daily Show now too, or like that
Yeah.
kind of go down that
Yeah.
way as well. Yeah,
Oh, that's a great point, right? Because Jon Stewart has skewered Trump at every turn.
yeah,
That's basically the basic operational model of that show.
yeah,
And they're also under Paramount. Oh, that's so true. So,
yeah. I worry about the
wow,
Daily
I
Show
wonder.
too. Yeah, if it's hanging
Oh,
down
that's so
that
true. Well, we'll see what happens with Jon Stewart. He's made his triumphant return. Maybe he's gonna, I don't know, he's gonna maybe leave as soon as he came. So I
yeah.
think that's really a great point, Andrew. Wow. Yeah. And that is a show that I also really enjoy. But again, I
Oh, I
usually
love
watch
it.
it after the fact.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we saw the same thing happen with a lot of other shows too. Like James Corden kind of um, went away after midnight, which is a show I actually really did like. That show also went away too. And so I think, yeah, it's changing. Things are changing, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jon Stewart, like you said, in the wake of this. So, yeah, keep our eyes peeled for that. Anything else you want to say on the Colbert before we switch gears to a topic I'm dying to get into?
No, no, I think I'm good. I think I'm good on the Colbert situation. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well then, let's move on because while legacy TV may be folding under financial pressure and maybe perhaps political pressure, concerts are apparently giving us all the drama that we need. And enter Coldplay, Kiss Cam, and two executives who clearly forgot what year it is. And we're going to move on to our next story, which is astronomer CEO Andy Byron and the company's chief human resources officer, Kristen Cabot, were caught on a Jumbotron an intimate embrace during a Coldplay show in Boston on July 16th. They were hugged up in the video, enjoying each other's company until the kiss camera hit them. And then we see Andy bomb dive like it's an air raid, and Kristen turn away from the camera, scurrying away. Their reaction, I think, made the video go immediately viral. And lead singer Chris Martin also pointed at the two and just mentioned that, oh, look at these two. Okay, either they're having an affair or they're just very, very shy.
Yeah.
So, Drew, what did you think when you first heard this story?
Yeah, I saw it first on social media, and I just saw a clip of it, so I didn't see the whole thing. But then I eventually saw the whole clip. This has basically broke the internet. It's everywhere. It's just like, it's wild. Like, and now he's resigned. Everything you see online, they're making jokes about it. I saw StubHub doing an advertisement about, we got your favorite concert tickets with your favorite HR manager. Everyone
That's amazing.
everyone's taking it. Like,
Oh, that's amazing.
everyone's talking about it. It's just it's pretty wild. Like, I have a lot of hot takes on it, but I'm just curious. Like, what was your first reaction on it?
Okay. I've got so much to say on this.
Yeah, I don't know where to
My first reaction.
Yeah,
Okay, well, firstly, I thought it was hilarious.
it's
And
hilarious. Yeah,
and let me just say this. Okay, so this was happening at the Gillette Stadium in Boston. Let's put this into context here, okay? There's so many things I want to say about this. Um, I love this story. I don't love it for their family and friends. I feel really bad for them. But I do not feel bad for these two.
no,
I think this stadium held about 65,000 people. I looked into it
yeah,
because I just thought this is remarkable. And out of that 65,000 people, like looking at that stadium in the clip, it looks pretty packed, looks pretty full.
it's
And
Coldplay.
so
It's the biggest concert, one of the biggest concerts you can go to. Yeah,
one of the biggest, if not the biggest this year,
yeah,
highly anticipated, a very public place, obviously. You got 65,000 people in there. And of those 65,000 people that were in attendance, the kiss cam goes to you,
yeah.
right? And your side piece, who happens to also be your head of HR. It's like the universe kind of said,
Karma,
not today.
karma, karma,
That's what happened.
karma.
That is karma.
Yeah,
You got cold played in, I think, a delicious, delicious irony. Like I think these two were absolutely reckless. And I have a feeling if we were to go to that boardroom with a black light, oh boy, I think they've probably been up to, because they looked like they were very comfortable.
yeah,
And clearly, this is not the first time they've been together. So if there was any speculation around the relationship, in the clip, you can see there's another person standing next to Kristen, who I've later found out also works with them.
yeah. I found that out
And
too. Yes, yeah,
if you look at her body language, she just looks mortified. She's just standing there, her face going completely bright red as
Mhm.
Chris Martin is speculating on the relationship. So
Realizing
to
what just
me, I
happened,
think
and he takes a nosedive too. Yeah,
totally,
yeah,
totally. His reaction completely, to me, shows that he knew they were doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. And I think if you're going to live like that and move that recklessly, you're living so dangerously that not only do I think it was karma that they got caught, it was a matter of time before they got caught. And I think their next staff meeting is going to be extraordinarily awkward. But since they, have resigned, that's what I expected to have happen. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens ultimately to both of them, because often in these cases, the woman is the one who usually takes the pounding. In these cases, if you think about like a Clinton Lewinsky sort of scandal, it's usually the woman who's vilified. I
yeah.
think in this one, yeah, he's got some explaining to do as well. I really I find it hilarious. I find the fact that what a coincidence that they out of a whole audience of people were the ones caught up in that.
Right?
But uh,
Yeah.
to be expected when you're going to be that reckless with, someone you're cheating with. I think it's a divine karma.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you watched Modern Family, but Gloria and Phil's kiss cam moment. There's an
Mm.
episode. It just aged like fine wine. So, did you watch the show?
I watched Modern Family like sporadically, so I
Yeah.
don't know if I know that episode in
Well, there's
question.
an episode when Gloria and Phil are at the game, and and then they're caught on the kiss cam, and then uh, Phil's like, no, no, it's she's part of my family, but it's not like we're related or anything. We're just here together. This is not my wife. And then Gloria kisses him. She's like, it's no big deal. And and his wife is watching, and then he gets a text from his daughter saying, "You're dead." And then he says afterwards to the camera, he's like, "The kiss cam is supposed to be enjoyed by the people in the stadium, and that's it. All right, nobody at home is supposed to see this." So that's what I was saying. That
Mm.
episode just aged like fine wine. And also, I wanted to get your
Mm.
reaction on his reaction, his initial reaction. Um,
Hmm.
so he is like, did you see his initial reaction? The CEO, his PR statement he put out. Did you read that?
Okay, so here's the thing. That was a fake statement.
Oh,
That
it
wasn't
was.
actually
Oh,
his
okay.
statement.
Okay.
It wasn't his statement. So I did see the statement, and I thought immediately, like my PR lens was like, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And then I found out that it was actually fraudulent.
Oh,
But I'm
okay.
glad you bring it up
Yeah.
because it leads me to um, my thought on how it was handled and how terribly it's been handled. Because the fact that there was enough time between the the video going viral and somebody putting out that statement, it speaks to like one of the fundamental things. If you work in communications and especially crisis communications, people kind of know this.
Yeah.
If the silence, you have to fill it with something, or people will fill it for you. So this is like going to be a case study for any communicator moving forward of what not to do, because somebody went and filled that space when he didn't. So he still hasn't said anything actually
Oh, I
about
thought
what happened.
that was his statement. Okay, I'm glad you told me that.
No, it was actually a fake statement. Someone else put it out.
Okay.
But a lot of people have been seeing it as the statement that they think he should have put out. I think it even ends with like a Coldplay quote or something. So it seems a little bit off. And I've found out that it is not his official statement. So, but let's say it was, because and there's a world where a lot of people
Mhm.
do think this is actually what he's saying. And from your perspective, if you've seen the statement, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was his statement, and I didn't like his statement from a
Hmm.
PR perspective. I'm not a PR professional, but it just took the blame off him, and he said something like this private. It was supposed to be a private moment, and like it does seem like something a CEO would say, as a PR statement, though. This is a personal, I think he said something like, this is a personal moment, which became public. And then he also, there's blame towards Coldplay as well. And apparently there's going to be legal action against, or trying to be. Is that correct as well?
No, not
Oh, that's
correct.
not correct.
And
Okay.
that's what made me kind of question it.
Yeah.
Among other things, there were some spelling mistakes within the statement as well when I read it.
Okay. Yeah.
But that part, I was like, legal action against who? The band? When you freely went to a concert, like that? What are you gonna? What legal action?
Do
So,
you think he
and it's actually
could?
funny because
Do you think he has any, I don't know. Yeah.
okay, so I think there will be legal action. I
Yeah.
think there will be legal action against him
Yeah.
by his partner if she decides to take him to the cleaners for this. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know the state of their marriage, right? What it's like. So I feel really bad for the families who are waking up and seeing this moment will inevitably be replayed on every late night show. Every comedian's going to use this.
Biggest moment of
Chatter
the
at the office. Oh
yeah.
my God. Like it's going to be unavoidable for them to see this over and over again. And I think that would be very hurtful if I were his partner to be seeing him clearly stepping out, because there's no, unless he's giving her the Heimlich maneuver, he seemed very comfortable. That kind of embrace from behind, the
Yeah.
way he's touching her, they've been intimate. And so
His
I
wife
think,
his wife immediately removed his last name from her Facebook account as well.
Really?
So yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's just going to see what
Okay.
happens.
Well,
And yeah, what?
we'll see what happens. We'll
Yeah,
see. But yeah, if she wants to take him to civil court, I see legal proceedings in civil court, that's for sure, and all the evidence in the world that she needs to proceed.
right.
And I'm pretty sure because if he's going to a concert again, with like his side piece and someone else from the company is standing there watching it go down, it's super public. Like they know then. That means it's like a very well known and
Yeah,
very cliche sort of affair. So there's no way that he can actually say he wasn't doing that. Like it's funny because he's coming from an AI like software based company. I thought at first maybe he could say it was AI or something, but
that's
you really can't lie about that. You
yeah,
can't. It's very obviously him. And his response, the duck and dive, was just like, dude, if you just stood there and were just cool, like maybe you could have maybe made this go away, but it's the specific like shame in the response, how he scurried away, that
yeah,
makes it unavoidable. So legal proceedings, possibly, against him
yeah.
by his spouse. And, I think that, I
He,
mean, I hope,
her divorce lawyers
sorry,
are
go ahead.
her divorce lawyers are going to be making like Scarface money off this. All
I
right.
mean, this is a layup. This is a layup. You've
Yeah,
got the evidence right there.
yeah,
It's such a layup.
they're yeah, they're
Yeah,
going to be making some money off
totally,
this for sure.
totally,
I
totally.
think it's
And I'll tell
ironic
you what
that
else
it was
too.
with an HR manager too. You know,
That's the part that I find blows my
right?
mind. It's the head of HR. So can
Yeah,
you imagine this? The person who's supposed to be upholding a certain standard around the code of conduct.
yeah,
She has to go away. You can't work there anymore and bring me in to talk about, professionalism when the whole world has seen you act and move in a way that's like, it is against every single code of conduct possible. It shows such poor judgment.
yeah,
And that brings me to my next point, which is I was going to ask you, Andrew, not so much the legal proceedings, because I think we'll see what happens there in civil court, and I think also
as far as
Chris Martin has
divorce court,
since that day
yeah,
has in the next concerts that followed has made sure that he's warned everybody that hey, we're going to put the kiss cam on you if you're a legitimate couple, right? Like let us know just as a warning. So I think he's already responded in a cheeky way to what's happened. But what I'm curious about, not the legal ramifications of this, but professionally. Okay, we've seen
yeah,
perhaps proactively the CEO has decided I'm going to resign rather than get tossed out. He just did what he knew needed to be done to make this scandal go away for the company. But do you think that was the right thing to do? Like, do you think what CEOs, executives, what people do who are in the C suite, outside of the C suite, does it matter? Do you think that he should have resigned, or do you think this is something that this is outside company time, should have remained outside of company discourse? What are your thoughts on that?
yeah. That's a great question. I was thinking about that too. Should there be? Yeah, should there be repercussions of what you do on social media with you
Mm-hmm.
in relation to your job and also in relation to court as well, like
Mm-hmm.
fired in that way. Yeah, I mean, yes. I don't know what was in his contract, but he's the CEO, right? And she's
Yeah.
HR manager, like you were saying. So they're supposed to uphold the values of the company, and they violated that for sure. And so it's also like the position he holds within the company. He can't be in a relationship with someone at the company in that position as well. So that's a part of it too.
Hmm.
Taking away from them both in their own relationships, right? So I think in
Yeah.
that way he was right to resign, and that shouldn't be tolerated, and it's unprofessional. Yeah, but as far as the line between what happens or what you post on social media or what goes out on social media, or like also your personal life as in relation to your work, you know, do you agree with that? That you shouldn't? be employed at a company if maybe you're having extramarital affairs, or you're doing something on social media which doesn't uphold, the values of the company. How do you feel about that?
In a word, yes.
Yeah.
And I'll say, I'll be very clear about why I'm saying that, because I do think that there it's a slippery slope, because on one hand you don't want to police people in their free time, but
Yeah,
on the other hand,
that's what I was.
when you especially are in the CEO position, you're an executive, right? You represent so much more than yourself. You are representative of a company,
You're the
and
face.
when a company has a certain ethos, if you're moving in a way that is counter to that ethos, then I absolutely think what you post and what you're saying, what you're doing,
Mhm.
absolutely is up for public consumption and should absolutely be seen. Because here's my thing with this guy. These guys are moving so recklessly.
Mhm.
Like, I think it's insane what they just did. As if it's like it's 2025. There's cameras everywhere. There's people watching you all the time. So even just in terms of his judgment,
Yeah.
I would look at him a little differently and go, I'm your judgment's off, and I'm gonna start looking at your books too, because I wouldn't even be surprised if some of these, liaisons were even on, maybe on the company dime. Who knows? Because now I have to question how you move in general. Because here's the thing: I generally find, not always, but often, and it's the principle under which people do behavioral interview questions,
Mhm.
how you move in one area of life is quite often how you're going to move in most areas of life. So if a CEO lacks like a serious integrity in one area in their personal life, if they're dishonest in their personal life, then they may be echoes of that in their business choices too.
Exactly.
Maybe you're
Yeah.
dishonest there too, right? If you're doing something for your own gain and you're not thinking about how it's going to be perceived by other people, then I have to think you might move like that in other areas as well. Like if it's going to be advantageous to you as a CEO, then you probably will move in ways that are reckless. And this was reckless. I think what people do in a leadership role, unfortunately, that is the burden of leadership
Yeah.
at this level, is that what you do off the clock matters. So yeah, I do think if the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, for example, is posting photos of them cosplaying at a, I don't know, uh, I can't think of anything right now, but unfortunately, what's coming to mind for me is like you're cosplaying at a Klan rally. Yeah, I definitely want, personally, I want to know about that,
Yeah.
because I don't want to support that company anymore. So I think it does matter. And I think your colleagues will have to look at you a little differently. And unfortunately, for me, in many cases, I don't think I can actually work for somebody that I don't respect.
Yeah.
If I've lost complete respect for you, it's like
As a leader.
I can't even work for you.
You're right. Yeah,
So,
I mean, you're the face of the company. You're a leader in that role, and
mm,
even if you're not in that type of position within that company, you're right. Like how you move personally, and also,
mm,
is reflected in your professional work as well. If you're not, if you don't have honesty in one way, how are you going to have honesty in the business world as well? Yeah. So a lot of people
you
ask,
know,
would you do business with someone who is not honest in maybe cheating on like you're maybe in a situation where your boss is having an affair like this one, or like in
yeah.
any other ways, could you work for someone like that, or could you do business with someone like that? Yeah.
Very difficult. And unfortunately for him as well, he's also working in the AI space. And AI right now, so many people are so skeptical of where it's going and the ethics around that space.
Yeah.
So you need somebody who, there's no perfect person, but you do need somebody who is at least moving in a way that publicly they've not lost all credibility.
Yeah.
I think this guy, he's, you know what it was? It's like you're literally watching a person in their flight or fight response. And when the chips were down, he bomb dived, left that woman just standing there by her. Like, to me, I see it as so much more severe than maybe people are seeing it. Because I'm
Yeah.
going, this CEO, when the chips were down, he literally aborted the ship. He just took off. His flight response took off. You only do that when you think there's danger.
Yeah.
So what was he doing that was so dangerous? That means to me, I know he knows he was doing something that was, offside, and he just didn't think he was going to get caught.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying I think he does this
His
a
hand,
lot. I
his
think
hand
they've
was
done
in the
this
cookie
for a
jar.
while.
Yeah,
Right?
his hand, he got caught red-handed in the cookie jar. Yeah.
Completely. And I know, there's obviously a lot more that's probably going to come out around this story as it evolves. But I also wanted to, before we move on to our next, story about another public social media slip, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about this CEO because I find it really fascinating as well that he was caught in a public space at a concert he went to freely. However, and I think you kind of alluded to this earlier, he was caught on a kiss cam. And the kiss cam, I mean, you've worked in media. Usually, when their image is being used, right, or likeliness of it, you need to get consent. So I'm just kind of curious. Does any part of you feel bad for this couple because even though they were moving in a fairly greasy way, they weren't expecting to be put out there. It's a high coincidence that someone could have seen them.
Yeah.
But let's face it, the kiss cam in itself has created a lot of issues. I remember, I think late last year, there was a Knicks game where some woman was on the kiss cam with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was in his phone, like totally ignoring her and even shooing her away during the kiss cam. So she turned to the other guy beside her, and she was a pretty woman. Turned to the other guy beside her, and that guy, and just started making out with him.
Oh wow.
And so we see things like this, or we saw like same thing. I think last year there was a guy who, on the kiss cam, took his girlfriend's head and slammed it into his lap to simulate that she was sucking him off on the kiss cam.
Classic.
And so,
yeah.
what are your thoughts on the kiss cam in general? Because in an age of consent, do we even need this kiss cam? Like, on one hand, if you're the CEO, yeah, okay, I did a thing that was probably it lacks some serious judgment. But at the same time, I didn't ask to be on this kiss cam. You put me out there, Coldplay, in a way that I wasn't expecting. So is there any part of you that wonders if like the kiss cam maybe is like become passe?
No, I mean, no. I still love the kiss cam. I mean, yeah, you're going to any sports game, and the camera pans to the crowd at any point, right? It doesn't even have to be a kiss cam, but the kiss cam. I don't know when it started. It's been around for a while, and it's led to a lot of candid moments for sure. But you're going to a public game, right? It's like the camera's going to pan to the crowd if you happen to be in the crowd. That's a you problem, okay? That's a you problem. I don't think they need to get consent, because it's a public space, it's a public game, and they were just basically caught on camera. It was karma, and I don't feel bad for them at all. Yeah.
Okay. No, fair enough.
Yeah.
And let it be a cautionary tale to everybody moving with their mistress, their side piece. It's don't do it so publicly.
Don't go to
I think that's
right.
maybe, I don't know. But this will be a teachable moment, I'm sure. And that next all staff meeting will be extremely awkward and probably 100% attendance. I can't wait to see what happens with this.
Yeah.
But let's move on then. We'll go on from the Coldplay concert to and someone getting Coldplayed at a concert to. Oh, I hate to say it because I know we're going to see this band next month, but Liam Gallagher is in a little bit of hot water again. So on July 1st, he posted something on X, formerly Twitter, a post containing an anti-Asian slur. And when he was confronted by fans on the X platform who told him that it's racist or that he shouldn't say it, he basically just brushed off the criticism and just kind of said whatever, or posted things like behave or chill out, despite the warnings from fans. And then later that same day on July 1st, he later went back on with a post following up to say that I'm sorry if I offended anybody, it wasn't intentional, I love you all and I do not discriminate. Basically, peace and love, Liam. And people are sort of wondering about the timing of this text because the text came out just days before, or I should say the post, excuse me, the X post. It came out just days before Oasis was meant to kick off their reunion tour on July 4th.
Mhm.
So, Andrew, in light of this controversy, and obviously he's got a history of controversy. This is not his first rodeo with social media controversy. What are your thoughts on this, especially noting that, you know, you're going to go see this concert next month? What do you think about social media again,
Yeah.
strikes again, and accountability when it comes to artists and apology tours?
Well, yeah, like we were just talking about, right? What goes on social media, it's public consumption, and it's we're going to be talking about it again with Love Island too, with one of the cast members of Love Island, and what they
Mm-hmm.
put out on social media. And I mean, yeah, I mean, Oasis is one of my favorite bands. I'm excited to see them. His response was very Liam for sure. Uh,
Yeah,
I
totally.
do believe that it was a PR, their PR manager or the company that's promoting their world tour is definitely put the pressure on him to come out with an
Mm.
additional statement for sure. I don't believe that was him, like originally why he came out with the
Mm.
second statement. Um, I don't like it at all. I mean, yeah. I don't like it, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth for sure, and especially his initial comments of it on it afterwards as well. Like he wasn't even apologizing for it. It seems, yeah. So I didn't like that at all. Um, I will still go to the concert. I it's a tricky one because I'm a big Oasis fan, but at the same time, with artists, like can you separate artists from what they do and what they say on
Mm.
media from their actual music? That's another that's an interesting
Mm-hmm.
topic. It depends on what they do, obviously, and what in the context and what we're talking about here. But for
Most
example,
stuff.
Diddy, not to go into Diddy, but yeah, like I can't even hear his music the same way. And R. Kelly is another one too. I can't listen to
Yeah.
his music the same way. Yeah, so I will still go to the concert, and I still love Oasis, but I didn't like that state. I didn't like that came out on social media, and I didn't like his response either. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I'm really conflicted about a lot of things on this one too, because
yeah,
if that slur had been a different slur, then maybe I'd been like, oof, okay, that's a hard end. Like, oof, I don't know about that. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter. It's not about the slur. It's the fact that he did that and
yeah.
had no contrition, and the fact that, to your point, I do think it was obviously, a PR damage control move to then
Mhm.
come back in like an hour later and have a come to Jesus moment about what he said earlier. I yeah,
But
it smacks of insincerity, you
can't
know.
these artists and these people just stay off social media after a certain time? Like can't they take
I
away
don't know, man. Like
can't they take their access
that's
from X and
that's
Instagram,
actually that's
please?
a great point.
Just
If you're working with Liam Gallagher right now, you got to take the phone. But then again, how do you take the phone from Liam Gallagher?
you know
Like
what?
that's just probably
There
a
needs
hard
to
thing
be
to do in and of
someone needs to
itself.
come up with an app where like it's like for like a child-proof app. Instead, it's like a rock
Yeah,
star-proof app. So you can't use certain
yeah,
social media channels, unless it's like on lock, by the adult
yeah,
or your PR manager.
yeah.
I think someone needs to
Totally.
come out with that. Yeah,
Totally, and I'm sure there's somebody right now. It's probably some intern who's
yeah,
probably writing his post now. But I think it's very interesting because yeah, he's not the first person. He won't be the last. And though I agree with you, I find it to be disturbing that he had that response. I and maybe this makes me hypocrite. I don't know, but I also too am of the point of view that I can sometimes, depending on the transgression, I can usually separate the art from the artist.
yeah,
And but there are some artists, you've named a couple of them right off the top, that I find it's a little bit hard now to separate
yeah,
their work from them, and where I can't enjoy it as much. Like you hit the nail on the head with R. Kelly. I think R. Kelly to me feels almost like a parody to listen to his music. It feels almost cheesy now to listen
Yeah.
to like a slow joint by R. Kelly. Like it's just it doesn't feel he's taken all the steam out of it for me now. It's just it feels like I don't know. I just think piss. I don't know. I can't like separate
Yeah,
him from
it
that. So
doesn't sound the same for sure. It comes off
yeah,
very icky. Yeah.
yeah. It's like he's singing very about very sensual, tender things, but you know that's like just completely not his bag.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it doesn't play. And you're right about Diddy. We'll see what happens here because that doesn't age well, or like he was so ingrained in entertainment that there are so many people that have photos courtside with him, or like just so many things that he was involved in the culture itself, that it's kind of like the erasure of Diddy now. You
Yeah.
see so many people that are trying to separate themselves, but it's like, yeah, he was a major player, so it's hard to even watch. I just watched Get Him to the Greek
Oh
the
yeah.
other day. Love that movie. And now that whole scene, like there's a whole sequence of scenes now. I'm like, it's kind of he's acting, sure, but now I know he really is acting, right? So it's like it changes how I view it a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even think he
unfortunately.
was
So
acting. I don't think he was acting. I think that was
I, I guess not. Maybe he's a true to the game,
yeah,
like
I think
he's
that
playing a psycho.
yeah, exactly. I think that's pretty much him. Yeah.
Method, it's probably method.
Yeah.
So yeah, is an interesting thing. But now I'm going to try to do another interesting thing here, because I'm going to try to do a very unfortunate and hard pivot to our next item, and I don't really know how to go from this to the next. But what I am going to say is we're going to now pivot from judging creators to mourning them, and we're going to talk a little bit about Michael Madsen. So Michael Madsen, found dead at his home on July 3rd. We just recently found out the cause of death was a cardiac arrest, triggered in part by a lot of things, coronary heart artery disease, and also chronic alcoholism. So I guess right off the bat, when I think about Michael Madsen and his legacy, I immediately think about Tarantino, think about his work in, all of his films. So, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, Hateful Eight. I mean, they just had this amazing working relationship. That's going to be something that I'm going to think about for sure when I think about Madsen's legacy. I'm curious, Drew, like, yeah, what do you think about when you think about Madsen's legacy? And also, maybe we can have a conversation about dynamic duos.
Yeah.
And he chose to work so much with Tarantino, and I'm curious as to maybe what it is that made those two so magic together. What makes a duo dynamic in the first place? So, any or all of that, take that and run with it, Drew. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sorry to hear that Michael Madsen has passed on. I first saw him in Quentin Tarantino Reservoir Dogs. I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan, and so I don't know. He's been in so many of Quentin Tarantino's movies. I don't know the exact number, but pretty much like a lot of them. Yeah, I don't think one he wasn't in, but yeah, he was just a great. He was a good actor, and I mostly know him from Quentin Tarantino films. Apparently, just a little tidbit that Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarantino originally wanted Michael Madsen to play John Travolta, the role that went to John Travolta, Vincent Vega.
Wow. Oh,
And
Vincent Vega. Okay.
yeah, so
Mm.
Quentin Tarantino wanted Michael Madsen, and then the studio didn't want him. I don't. Oh no, he was. Yeah, so he was going to be Vincent Vega, but then he was cast in Wide Earp, and so
Mm.
couldn't do Pulp Fiction, and then the role eventually went to John Travolta. So that's interesting, and yeah, but
Okay.
yeah,
I
so
didn't know that.
I know he's just been great in every film he's done, and he's played typically like the gangster role. I really liked him in Kill Bill specifically. I thought he was great in that.
Mm.
And yeah, he's definitely one of those almost like those old school actors. I feel like and yeah. I mean, he'll live forever with, I'm going to continually watch Quentin Tarantino movies, but I always liked his performance in each one, so he will be missed for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He always brought like a really quiet intensity
Intensity,
to roles, and I think when you couple that with Tarantino and is such a bold filmmaker who makes such a loud kind of like splash with his films, they balance each other out in a really nice way. So I think they complement each other really well.
yeah,
And I don't know, obviously, yeah, like how many movies he's been in the Tarantino catalog, but I can't think of one he hasn't been in.
yeah,
So that's the thing. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, they have a really special relationship, and obviously Michael was a muse for Tarantino as well. And I'm, always thinking about dynamic duos and
yeah.
why there's magic when certain people start to collaborate. So I'm kind of curious who are some of your favorite creative duos, and it could be in any space, not necessarily entertainment. But is there anybody that comes to mind outside of this pairing that you think, yeah, when these two get together, there's magic? And who comes to mind for you and why?
Well, first comes to mind is Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm.
yeah, it just like, and he's always since they were first working together, he's been in every Martin Scorsese film in lead role. So
Yeah.
before it was
Yeah.
Robert De Niro, he was another muse of Martin Scorsese, and now it's Leo, and I I get excited every time I hear about another film that they're going to be working on. It just goes they go so well. They work so well together, and Leo's a great actor, and he seems just really. His performances are always amazing in a Martin Scorsese,
Mm.
and they've always been successful. So why stop? What's working so well? It's a formula for success. Also, Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler,
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
as well. Fruitvale Station,
Mm-hmm.
first time they worked together,
Mm-hmm.
which is a powerful film, and then they did both Creeds.
Mm-hmm.
Creed 1 and 2, and now Sinners, and yeah, Black Panther as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Great point. Great point. Do you think there's any reason? Have you heard them talk about their relationship, like why they work so well together?
I heard a little bit about it. They really, I think it's a relationship, a friendship they've formed from the beginning. They seems like when they talk about each other, there's this real love for each other as a friendship,
Mm-hmm.
and they really understand each other. The way they communicate with each other. They just, I think Michael B. Jordan said at one point, he doesn't have to explain things to me. It's just like I get it. I just we get
Mm-hmm.
it. We know what's going to work, and there's not a lot that needs to be said. Like they understand each other so much. It seems. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them do some press for Sinners, and I heard a similar conversation, and I picked up on the same vibe. Is that they just get each other,
Yeah.
and I think you're right. I think you've hit on something that I was going to bring up around the creative partnership, and that in a perfect world, yes, you have a lot of respect for each other, and you you have to have that. I think at least I'll say friendship ideally, but at least a mutual respect, because then when you're working together, you can experiment, you
Yeah.
can play. Because if you don't trust the other person, or if there's like a reluctance to give each other feedback, like why don't we try this? Why don't we do this? I think there is something that I see between them where
Yeah.
you just nailed it. Where like Kugler's like, look, I know if I take this material, Michael can handle it. Michael can hold it. He knows what to do with it. Whereas another actor, he might have to explain the nuance of like, no, no, do it like this. With Jordan, it's like no, he just, I don't have to even give him direction.
Yeah,
He gets me. And I think that shows in how he's taken on so many roles time and time again. And I think when you also have that relationship, that friendship, it becomes easier to give each other notes. Because if you are either too in awe of the person you're working with, which I've heard many people say about Scorsese, it's like, how do I give a note to, like, Seth Rogen was in an interesting situation with the studio this year because he had to work with one of his heroes. And it's
yeah,
like, how do I give a note to Scorsese? Like, who does that, right?
yeah,
So I think they have a good friendship, Coogler and Michael B, because yeah, they have a mutual respect between them, a real friendship. I think
yeah,
they get each other, and I think that's a big part of having a creative partnership. Is that yeah, you can play together, giving each other notes that you know are landing. From a basis of love. It's not like you are threatened by that.
yeah.
And I think that can be something that makes a big difference in the creative partnership that they have for sure.
Yeah, I think you really nailed it with that respect and that friendship, and they just really understand each other. Yeah,
I think
it's
so. And
almost
it
like
can be respect based
it's
on,
like that rare,
sorry, go ahead.
just that the rare connection. It's like it
Mm.
seems like they really capture lightning in a bottle when they work together. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. And yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Like I don't know how to articulate it. It is lightning in a bottle. It is some is a je ne sais quoi. Like I don't know what it is, but they obviously have got something, and so you run with it. And I think another thing that I'm thinking about, because I was thinking about yeah, these different duos. When you said Scorsese, I actually thought De Niro. And then you said DiCaprio, and I was like, oh yeah, you're right, DiCaprio as well. And why they all work with each other. I'm sure they're going to have, different ways of saying, well, this is the goat. This person is the greatest of all time. So it's really not a matter of thinking about working with Scorsese. It's like you get that call, you say yes. And I'm sure Scorsese would say the same. I give my material to Leo, I give it to Bobby. I know it's going to be in good hands. They get it.
yeah.
They get where I'm coming from. Maybe even culturally, they get where I'm coming from. I think the other thing I've noticed, and I've just saw SZA and Kendrick together. These two are another duo that they're
Oh,
always together. To the point where people think there's something between them, and like both of them are like, no, no, this is like a brother sister thing. The reason why I think they work,
yeah,
when I notice when I listen to them do things together, I'm like, oh, SZA is an amazing writer, very vulnerable. She knows how to put lyrics together that will move you. And Kendrick knows he has the production. He's also a great lyricist. I mean, he's
mhm.
a Nobel
Oh,
Prize
yeah,
winning laureate. So what can we say about his songwriting? But the two of them together, and I've heard Kendrick say this too, that he really respects SZA's vulnerability on a track. And I think SZA respects that Kendrick knows how, from a production standpoint, knows how to move people on a track. He gets the complexity of laying down a track. So you get those two together.
mhm.
They have different things they bring to the pot. You stew that, put those things together, and that's chef's kiss. So
Yeah,
I think it's also if two people bring opposite things or bring complementary things, they may not understand the other person's method, but when forced to kind of play in that sandbox, it can bring out things in you that like, oh, I didn't think I had this in me, or I could never have reached this level if I hadn't actually collaborated with this person because they're bringing something out that I haven't explored. So whenever
creatively,
I
yeah.
think of artists like this,
Seems like
where
they
it's like
creatively push each other. Maybe.
that's totally it.
Yeah,
So I mean, go back at time immemorial. Like I think obviously, um, you know, the past partnerships that I think have been really amazing are not all entertainment based, but I think of the Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak. You've got one who's the designer, the programmer, who gets the zeros and ones, and then you've got Steve Jobs, who's the visionary. He gets marketing. You put those two together, they've changed the world. I think about for
mhm.
me bringing it to movies, I think about Richard Linklater and Ethan Hawke. Those two, they always love working together.
Mhm.
And I think of Boyhood. That was like a 13-year project that they worked on together. And who
Wow.
does that? It's
Yeah,
because they have a great friendship. They're just hanging out, working on something together. And I think that the friendship is the thing that keeps people connected to that kind of a long game. They just have a great relationship and they get each other. And then this one's going to hit from left field, but I will be remiss not to say it came up in my mind around music is whether you're a Swiftie or not is not even the point. But Taylor and Jack Antonoff together,
yeah,
like they make hits. there's just no way around that. So I think she just trusts him implicitly, and their creative relationship. I think he brings some production studio value to who she is as a first and foremost in my mind a singer songwriter actually.
Yeah.
So I think they work really well together. So yeah, I think there's a real art to what you're saying that they push each other in ways that they otherwise couldn't solo, right?
No, yeah, I totally, those are great examples as well. Also, what comes to mind is Tim Burton and Johnny Depp. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
they're
That absolutely.
creatively, once they get together, just like there's so many examples of that. Yeah, from Edward
It's
Scissorhands.
magic.
Yeah, it's magical. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, those two are a great example and a great note to end off on as we get into our final story here, because we're going to move from duos that we celebrate on the big screen over to the people that we're going to soon be celebrating this fall on another screen, mostly TV, but we'll definitely see a lot of stars of film this year in the Emmys, which were recently announced, the nominations last week, in fact, and we're going to get into that. We're going to talk the snubs, the surprises, and I want to hear about the categories that you're most excited about as well. So let's get into it. And just for those who may not be aware of what's happened here, this year should be a really interesting one. Our top contenders, we've got Severance leading the pack with 27 nominations, including acting, writing, and directing. The Penguin follows with 24 noms
yeah.
in the limited series space. And then, of course, no surprise to anybody, The White Lotus season 3 and the studio tied for 23 nominations apiece. We've got a lot of really great surprises this year, too. But before we get into all of this, Drew, I'm just going to open it up. What are your thoughts when you hear about the people that are leading the pack? Severance, The Penguin, White Lotus, and the studio. Yeah, what were you thinking when you saw how the nominations shook out this week?
Um, uh, I was really excited about it. I mean, I haven't watched Severance. I believe you have.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I haven't seen it, but that was to be expected. I'm the cheerleader for the White Lotus all the way for sure. I'm Team White Lotus.
Yes.
So yeah, anyone could have been nominated, and of that great cast this season. Um, and also the studio. Actually was a little surprised by the studio. You got me into the studio. I love that show, but I was surprised by how many nominations it actually did get. But I'm excited.
Mm.
It's a great show. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, great show. I wasn't surprised at all the studio got the accolades it got, because I predicted it would. Hollywood loves to see themselves
Yeah.
in immortalized on the screen. They just love anything related to Hollywood. That's guaranteed. Nomination right there. And also, it's a great show. I think it's a really great show, and
It's
I
hilarious.
would not be surprised to see it pick up a few awards this time around, because it's got great studio quality, great marketing behind it, obviously, with Apple, Seth Rogen as a writer, director, uh, and acting in this show has been superb. I think he's flanked by an amazing cast behind him. Yeah, I think it would be surprising to me if it didn't get some kind of award for the first season, because it's been an excellent season. I also am not surprised, like you, to see the White Lotus. Like, this is what happens when Mike White puts a season out. They clean up at Emmy time. The one thing about White Lotus, which I find really interesting, is that every year, because everybody is so amazing in the cast, almost everybody picks up a nomination, and then you get the interesting conundrum of each category is basically stacked for one or two of the shows. So what I noticed was you get a category where you have basically every single actor from The White Lotus in that category up against each other, and then maybe one other show. So where it happened this year, and this is a category that I'm going to be watching very closely, I think
Yeah.
it's going to be an insanely tight race, is the category for the outstanding lead actor, or sorry, supporting, excuse me, supporting actor in a drama series. So this one, I'm really curious to hear your take on who you think will win and who you think should win, because here we've got a little bit of an issue because we've got
Hmm.
one, two, three. We've got Walton Goggins, we've got Jason Isaacs, and we have Sam Rockwell, all nominated for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama for White Lotus. We've also got, I'm not surprised at all, John Turturro, Tramiel Tillman, and it's kind of a surprise for a lot of people to see Zach Cherry from Severance also all nominated, and then James Marden from Paradise, a show that I actually haven't seen yet, but I heard it's really great, sprinkled in there for good measure. What a tight race this category is, Drew.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on this one? Who do you think is going to win, and who do you think should win?
Yeah, that's like a dead heat for sure.
Mm,
I would say, I mean, yeah, my favorite character of White Lotus, which we talked about in a previous episode, Walter Goggins. I hope he wins. He's my pick to win. It's tough though. I mean, some people
mm.
say when there's two actors from a specific show or movie in in a category, some people say that sometimes what can happen is they cancel each other out.
Right,
Yeah, so that I hope that doesn't happen. But
right.
everyone in this category could win. That's what's wild about this, right? So, but my pick is Walter Goggins. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go Walton Goggins on this one too. But who I actually think could be a surprise upset, and hear me out on this one,
Yeah,
I could see it going to Rockwell. I could
really?
see it going to Rockwell. And I'll tell you, or I could also see it going to Tramiel Tillman for Severance. I'll tell you why.
Wow.
Because I think you're right. I think often when you have multiple actors from the same show nominated, they often do cancel each other out. I think Sam Rockwell, they like him a lot.
Yeah,
They
they
like him a
did.
lot,
Yeah.
and I mean, he's an Oscar winner at this point. And I think when I look at supporting actor, I don't know the technical time that somebody has to be on screen to be considered supporting.
Oh, sure.
Walton Goggins was like holding the show up. He was a major character.
Yeah.
So I do wonder about putting him in supporting. There's a certain amount of time you have to be on screen to be considered supporting. And maybe because he's in an ensemble cast, that's how he got away with that. Um,
That's a great point.
but
I don't even think he's a
do you know what I mean?
character in that, so maybe
Is
he
it?
won't
Yeah.
win because of that in a weird way.
Do you know what I mean? So then if you're looking at it,
Yeah.
technically speaking, who came in and stole the show? Whose sole monologue were we talking about weeks after it aired was Rockwell.
It,
Rockwell played a major part in the second half of the show, but he was still supporting, which is what I think
mhm.
might tip people towards him. They also love, like I said, they love him and love to reward. In fact, there's a many Oscar winners that are nominated. They're all moving to television now, which is a
Yeah.
whole other conversation. The other thing is Tramiel Tillman was brilliant this season in Severance, and a lot of people have talked about, how his character. And I'd love to get into this with you at some point down the road when you do get around to watching, because I'm sure you would love this show. Um, Tillman did something with his character. This character could have been really one dimensional,
Mhm.
but the way that he brought some heart to this very kind of heartless supervisor role, a lot of people spoke about how brilliant his performance was. And he has a big dance number at the end as well, which I think the dance number is also nominated for choreography later on.
Oh yeah.
So he has a kind of big part in that final episode. I wouldn't be surprised if there is an upset and people go for somebody from Severance and they might go for Tillman. I'm still going to put my money, I'm still going to put it on Walton. I'm still going to put it on Walton. However, I think I
Sam
think
Rock
Sam Rockwell could be an upset. I
as the
think he could be an
ultimate
upset
as
there.
the ultimate wingman. You,
Yeah,
you,
he
de-
is.
you
He
definitely
is.
want to go
He's
out
clutch.
on a night out with Sam Rockwell's character. That's for sure.
Oh man,
That'd be a wild
he
night.
is clutch.
Yeah.
He is clutch.
That'd be,
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a tight one. It's gonna be
yeah.
a tight one for sure. There's so many other nominees that I wanted to discuss as well too. I did mention, just now that Sam Rockwell, being an Oscar winner, he's joined in great company by some first-time nominees that were quite surprising. So, Harrison Ford, this is his first. I can't actually maybe fact check me on this, but I heard that Harrison Ford is nominated for Shrinking this year at
Mhm.
the age of 83. This is his first Emmy nomination, believe it or not, for Harrison Ford, which is kind of remarkable. And then we have, of course, a number of other Oscar winners that are nominated this year. Kathy Bates, nominated for Matlock. Don't watch the show, but
Yeah.
she's gotten some great buzz around that. And there was also a few uh, emerging contenders. So the show Adolescence, that one shot limited series that took Netflix by storm. Fantastic show, by the way. The little kid who played the adolescent in question, Owen Cooper, also nominated for an Emmy this year. And I'm not sure who's up against. I'll have to have a look at that. But man, that kid can act. Yeah, he's got some stiff
He's the
competition.
youngest,
He's
right?
he's pretty young. I'll have to look at that as well too. I can't remember how old he is, but he's
He's one
making
of the youngest.
some history as
Yeah.
yeah. Let's check that out if we can get a read on his age. But he's in a category with Javier Bardem, Rob
Wow.
Delaney, Peter Sarsgaard. I mean, someone else also from Adolescence, Ashley Walters. So he's got some stiff competition, but man, that kid's future is bright. He
Mhm.
crushed in that show. And so if he won, I wouldn't even be surprised if he beat out the other people because he held the show up single handedly. And he's never acted before. This is his first acting role. It's
Wow.
actually astonishing to me to go back and think he did that. That's his first role. That's unthinkable. That kid was
That's
born to act.
that's a
Man,
prodigy.
he was good in that. So
Yeah.
man, insane. There were also some people that we expected to see nominated who didn't get nominated. So, Drew, over to you. I'm curious, were there any snubs this year for you? Anybody you expected to see get nominated that uh, you felt got shut out or Coldplayed this year?
Yo, Coldplay. That's the term of the year for sure. I would say one of the snubs is more of the cast of Andor. I feel like should have been
Yes.
nominated. I mean, yes, it is a Star Wars show. I don't know if any of our listeners were watching it, but I definitely did, and it's a great show. I mean, on the surface, it's a Star Wars show, but it's tremendous acting in that show, and I thought more of the cast should have been nominated um, at the Emmys, and a lot of them were snubbed. Yeah, so
Yeah.
other than Peter, I don't think anyone got nominated. I think that was definitely a big snub, as well as Seth Meyers. I feel like was a big snub as well.
Mm, good point. Yeah, actually, I kind of considered that for the late night variety. But yeah, Seth Meyers is an interesting one.
Yeah,
I definitely noticed Andor because I was like, oh, as if Diego Luna wasn't nominated.
I know,
That's
right?
wild.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that one actually. That was a really obvious snub. And yeah, also Stellan Skarsgård was not nominated either. So
No, oh yeah,
a
Forrest
lot of
Whitaker was the only one nominated from the cast. Yeah. Uh, so,
okay.
so Stellan Skarsgård wasn't nominated. Luna O'Reilly or Ben Mendelsohn. He was good as well in his role too. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many great
Mm-hmm.
actors
Really,
on the show. Yeah.
really surprising.
Yeah.
Really surprising.
How about
There
you?
was another for me, I thought it was really interesting that once again they kind of shut out. Well, I don't know if it's really surprising, but it's kind of been the trend. But Selena Gomez was shut out for Only Murders.
Oh
Wasn't
wow.
mentioned there.
Oh yeah.
Thought that was kind of weird. I also thought not seeing Elizabeth Moss. She's like a perennial favorite, like not getting any nominations for Handmaid's
Yeah.
Tale this season.
And
That
this is
was
the
kind of
final
surprising to
season of
me.
Handmaid's Tale. Yeah.
Kind of surprising. I'm personally a little surprised as well that Hacks, which is a show that, for those who haven't watched it, is really about the comeback of an aging comedian and the, I'll say, twisted relationship she has with her mentee. It's a fantastic show. I started watching it in part because it was getting all this hardware at award shows. And I'm
Okay.
like, what's, I got to watch this show. Like, why does it keep beating all these other shows that are amazing? Oh, yeah, because it's amazing. It's an awesome show.
Really?
And
Huh.
I really, really like it. And I'm actually surprised not to see Paul W. Downs or Megan Stalter, who are the two agents in the show, not get nominated. He's also the writer and director of the show. So I was surprised not to see them, but that's just a personal uh, omission for me because I think that in time they should be nominated. I think they're actually becoming the heart of that show. But I'm going to put a personal plug in for Hacks. Like, if anyone hasn't seen that show, go watch that show. It's
All right.
really, really funny, really, really
I
good.
gotta check it out.
Last season was, but first three seasons super solid. So yeah, I was surprised by that. There was also, again, that whole situation around the comedy series. So I want to dive into that category, Drew, and get your take on that. So the outstanding comedy
I was
series
just gonna ask you
for
about that.
this year,
That's a tough
dude.
category. Yeah.
That is a tough category. Um, yeah, who do you think is going to win? Who do you think should win, if not the same? That's a tough category.
I mean, I would normally say the Bear, but the latest season of the Bear is has got mixed reviews. Actually, a lot of mixed feelings
Mm-hmm.
about the latest
Mm-hmm.
season of the Bell. I mean, Bear. Maybe we can talk about that in a later episode. But
Absolutely.
I mean, Shrinking is a great show. I've seen a couple episodes of that. I haven't seen the full season yet, but it's. I feel like it's going to be between Shrinking and The Studio, but also Only Murders in the Building is a great show too. But I just don't feel like that's going to win this year. I feel like it's going to be between Shrinking or The Studio, and I think the Studio is going to win Outstanding Comedy Series this year. Yeah.
Wow, that's a kind of hot take. So
Yeah.
you're gonna go for Studio for the win.
Yeah. Studio for the win for me. Yeah.
Wow. Maybe you're right. And maybe then instead of giving the actors from the studio any of the acting awards,
Yeah.
maybe it takes home the comedy series award. That's an interesting take. Wow. Okay. So the studio, I like you, I would not want to have a hand in choosing because
Yeah.
this is such a tight category. I just recently started getting into Abbott Elementary. I love the show. It's so
Wow.
funny. The hilarious The Bear. I don't know why it's in this category.
Right? Exactly. That's
I'm
another weird one,
not
actually. Yeah.
sure
Who's
why.
in the shadows
Hacks, like I said,
too? Yeah.
yeah, great show. I mean, I watch all these shows with the exception of Nobody Wants This. Haven't seen it. Obviously it's popular. People like it. Can't comment on it, but I definitely agree. I think Only Murders is a great show, but I'm not sure this is the year for them. I agree. Shrinking is a great show. I think it's just every year it's in this stiff competition with The Bear or Abbott. It just is never its year. I don't think this is its year either,
Hmm.
but I don't think that means the show isn't good. I think it was probably one of the best shows on television this year. If anything, if it's going to take it home one year, maybe it'll be this year. But I do agree with you. I think Hacks and I think The Studio are the two that I'm
I got to check
kind
out
of.
Axe. Yeah.
Oh, it's just so funny. And again, Hollywood loves to see itself. So I think it's just,
Yeah.
it goes behind the scenes, pulls the curtain back on, agency life, representation, A&R. Like it's just hilarious. And also the comedy circuit. It does bring in a lot of guest stars who are celebrities. So it has a lot of star power in it. People like to see themselves and their friends in the shows. I think Hacks, that's why it keeps winning, but it's well deserved. But I love your take on the studio, man. That is
Yeah.
maybe seems like a dark horse, but the more I sit with that, what you just said, I think I could see it winning too. I could see it winning. And if I go with
Yeah.
at gunpoint, like who I think will win, who I want to win, who I think will win, Hacks. I
Wow.
love What We Do in the Shadows, one of my favorite shows, but I don't think it's going to win.
Okay.
Who I want to win, who I think will win the Hacks, who I want to win, I'd love to see the studio win as well. I'd love
Okay.
to see the studio win. I'm
Wow.
gonna put my money
Okay.
on Hacks though, so that's gonna be another one that we're gonna have to pay close attention to for sure. And just for fun, as we wrap up, since we're in the ballpark around the outstanding drama, and I know we are both White Lotus stans,
Yeah.
who do you think is going to win outstanding drama series? We've got another stacked deck there between Andor, The Diplomat, The Last of Us, Paradise, The Pit, which I've also heard is amazing,
I heard good
Severance,
things. Yeah.
Slow Horses and the White Lotus. What are your thoughts on that category?
Oof, that's a tough one.
I know.
I would.
Mm.
I mean, shoot. That is. Let me just. I would say that it's hard for me to say anything else than other than White Lotus. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, The Last of Us. I really like The Last of Us too. I heard
Mm.
this, but I haven't seen the second season. So I heard it's not as good as the first season, but I would have to go with. I have to go with the White Lotus. Yeah, for the win. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, that's not a bad choice. I think for myself as well too. I'm going to choose that one. Who I think will win the White Lotus, who I want to win the White Lotus, and I'm saying that
Yeah.
just by a hair because Severance kicked serious ass last year. I think Severance could win that one easily, and I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to root for White Lotus on that one, but I'd like to see Severance take home, and I think they will take home. I think Adam Scott will take home an Emmy for his performance. I think highly likely Brett Lauer will take home one for her performance. And I also think, in terms of writing, there's an episode, I think one or two episodes of Severance are nominated here, along with the episodes. The final episode of White Lotus, Amor Fati, is also nominated
Oh,
for writing, and the finale of that show and Severance are both nominated. In that situation, there, I want Severance to take home the writing for its finale, which was incredible. So I think if that goes down, then I
yeah,
could be happy with the turnout for both because they both just were incredible television this year. So it's like there's no real winner or loser between the two. It'll just be interesting to see maybe recency. If that has a part to play in this, we'll see. But the Emmys are being hosted September 14th on CBS. So there is some time, I guess, left for people to go back and rewatch these shows, and we'll see what happens. But
or check out these new shows,
Drew,
like the shows like Hacks.
I
And
know,
talking about.
I
And I
know,
wanted
still
to ask
time.
you, one of the categories is outstanding supporting actress in a drama series. White Lotus pretty much owns this whole category,
Yes,
which is
yes.
hilarious. But I'm just curious, who would
Yeah.
you pick as far as um, all the nominations, which is majority of White Lotus?
Yeah. So this is the outstanding supporting, excuse me, in a drama.
Actress
So
in a
we've
drama
got from
series.
The White Lotus,
Yeah,
Carrie Coon, Parker Posey,
yeah,
my girl Amy Lee Wood, and Tasha Rothwell. I'm really happy for her that she got nominated too.
yeah. No,
But let's keep it real here. And I love Amy Lou, like love, love, love her. Parker Posey.
I
I
thought you were
want
going
it
to
to be
say
Parker
Amy Lou
Posey.
for a
It should
second.
be
That's what I
Parker
was going to
Posey.
ask you.
You
Okay.
thought I was going to say who? Amy Lee? Amy Lee Wood?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, Amy Lee Wood. I thought you were going to
I
say.
love Amy Lee Wood, and if she wins, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think it's going to be Parker Posey.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think Parker Posey. She owns so much of the discourse this year. Like she went viral for so many reasons.
Yeah,
I think Amy Lee Wood also too. Great choice, but I got to go Parker Posey. That's who I want to see win that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
me too. Me too.
yeah, just so great. But like that's a hell of a category. These are
Yeah.
some badass women in this category. Patricia Arquette, man, she was phenomenal in Severance. So like if she wins, I'll go, yeah, I see that too. I
And
see
I
that
was going to
too.
say, when you look at her body of work too, Patricia Arquette and also Parker
Mm,
Posey too, like I'm so happy that either of them could get an award because
I agree.
so many great performances over the years as well. Yeah, yeah.
For sure. Absolutely. Again, I haven't seen The Pit, so I can't speak to Catherine Lanassa. I've heard so many great things about The Pit. I don't know much about it, and I don't know anything about Paradise. But obviously, this year it was honestly, it looked like the top contenders, as we said at the top, Severance, White Lotus. It was all about them, but yeah, some new ones as well too to keep things interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, and the studio, of course. So I think we'll be keeping our eyes on all the chatter around the Emmys, and we'll come back to that as we get closer to the date. I do want to ask you one more question, though, Drew, before we wrap up, because every time we talk about these award shows,
Yeah.
inevitably we talk about the production, and inevitably we talk about just like any good party, a good party has to have a great host. So,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts this year on the choice of comedian Nate Bargatze to host this year's Emmys, also nominated this year for his comedy special? Are you familiar with Nate Bargatze, and what do you think about him as a choice this year?
Do you know what? I'm actually not familiar with him. I'll be completely honest. So I was surprised by that choice. I'll definitely have to check him out more for sure. But I'm not familiar with him, so maybe you can kind of tell me how you feel about it, and maybe you know more about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally fair because I think he's been slowly gaining
Yeah.
notoriety over the last couple of years, but he's not a household name. I think he will be though.
Hmm.
After this stint, we saw what he did for Nikki Glazer. I think Nate Bargatze is a very clean comic. He's a very clean. He's from the South. He's got a
Huh.
lot of material around his relationship with his wife, around like observational. I would say for me, he's sort of a new wave Seinfeld. I'll compare him to that kind of comedy.
I'll have to look at his stuff, but I wanted to ask you. Joe Coy hosted the Emmys a couple of years ago.
Well, hosted. Yeah.
Hosted, and he's a new comedian too, right?
Yeah.
That was the that was one of the biggest bombs as a host
God.
in recent memory. So my question is, do you think is he gonna, uh, is there gonna be like, do you think he can handle that? Because I hope we don't have a repeat of that, of that.
Great callback, by the way, to the Coy situation. I never really thought
Yeah,
about it that
he
way.
bombed it hard. Yeah, a
Oh,
few,
so hard, which is
few
no
years
so
ago.
unfortunate because I think Joe Coy is actually a funny man. I
He's
think
a
that was
great
the
comedian.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't seen that amount of bombing since Desert Storm. All right, all right, since like the Iraqi War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually kept it on my PVR. Gone back to watch it because I'm like, oh my
So I hope
God, if I was trying to
when you
figure
said
out
he's like,
what went wrong
when
here.
you said he's an emerging comedian, I just hope he doesn't go that way. Yeah.
Now, I'll give you my take on this one because I think that's a great comparison and a great question to ask around Nate Bargatze. The difference, though, Joy Coy and Nate Bargatze, I think, is huge. Nate Bargatze, I'm saying new, but he's not really that new. I think he's already sold out Madison Square. Like he's somebody who sells stadiums out. He's
Oh
extremely
yeah.
popular with the
Yeah.
people that are familiar with his comedy. His latest special. I don't know if it was Netflix. I think it was though. But anyways, his latest special is he's also nominated for an Emmy for that
Oh,
special, so he could potentially win on the same
amazing.
night as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
He's a comedian's comedian. A lot of comedians love this guy,
Right.
and one of the fundamental differences with him and Joe Coy did not have the same, in my opinion, the same mass appeal as Nate Bargatze.
Yeah.
Nate Bargatze appeals to a lot of people in the same way that, although I don't find him funny, Shane Gillis is someone who a lot of people find really funny and
Yeah.
who he appeals to the everyman. I don't find him funny, but Nate Bargatze I do think is funny.
I have the same
And Nate
thoughts on St.
Bargatze,
Gillis. Yeah,
yeah,
he appeals to a certain person, but yeah, it's definitely not
yeah,
a T. Yeah, and it's not
yeah,
easy to
not for
be a
me.
host. It's not easy to be a host of especially
No, it's not.
of an Emmys or an Oscars for sure. But it sounds like he's definitely has the qualifications to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's got the chops. I think he's got the connections in Hollywood. Like Joe Coy made the mistake of trying to clown. That's a bad room, right? That's a hard room. They
Yeah.
don't have a great sense of humor about being made fun of. So as a comic, it's like the worst crowd you could ever get, right?
Yeah.
And depending on the situation and when they film it and all that, you're seeing them also at daytime. There's a lot of people that they starved themselves into those dresses. They haven't eaten, they're hangry, they're
Yeah.
sensitive. That's a terrible crowd for comedy, right? All the makings of
Yeah.
a bad crowd.
Yeah.
So it's a tough gig, like you said. But I think with Joe Coy, he didn't have the connections in Hollywood to make those jokes land. If Conan roasts you, you know Conan is doing it in fun, and he's friends with a lot of those people.
Yeah.
So it lands different. Joe Coy is like, and who might you be? So it's kind of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
how dare you take a shot at this A-lister? It's like, who the hell are you? So I think that's why it landed. It landed funny, and also he made the cardinal mistake of blaming the writers when the jokes didn't land, and you don't do that. And
Yeah.
again, we talked about this. There was a writers' strike. You're going to throw the writers under the bus when the writers are the most sympathetic people right now in Hollywood.
That
Like
was
it just,
awkward. That was
it was
awkward.
probably fight or flight response on his part.
Exactly. That's what it
Bad
was.
look.
Yeah, it was pretty awkward. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Nate Bargatze's not going to be in that position. He's not going to inherit that kind of writer's strike landscape. He's also got, I think, more people in Hollywood who like him.
Oh, great.
So I think he's got a couple of things working in his favor, and he's clean. He's a clean comic, so I don't think he may not have such a heavy hand. Maybe he may do more of the writing than Joe Coy did, and I
Okay.
heard that Joe Coy did not do a lot of the writing. So
Okay.
could be interesting. But yeah, great question, Andrew, and I'm sure others will have an opinion on it. We'll love to hear from you, Alchemist, what your thoughts are. Do you care about the Emmys? Do you watch them? Are you interested in seeing them hosted by somebody else? And if so, let us know who that might be. In the meantime, we'll be keeping our eyes peeled to see how that Emmy race turns out. We'll, of course, be talking about it as we get closer to the date. And I think from there, though, we're going to wrap up today. And next week, I cannot wait for this. We're going to be heading back to the villa to talk about Love Island Season 7. We got texts and we got hot takes. All right.
Can't wait to
Andrew.
talk about it. Yeah.
Cannot wait. So you're making your way through Love Island USA. I'm sure you're going to have lots to say when we have that conversation.
I definitely will. I'm almost there. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow us on Instagram at culture_alchemy. We want to keep the conversation going.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And until next time, alchemists, stay curious.